We are seeing remarkable progress, but it has to continue and expand into the neighborhoods. Over the last 4 years, we have invested almost $500 million throughout the city of Cincinnati, 60% in our neighborhoods. We're investing in Avondale, where we already have invested $18 million and are working as a partner with them with the Choice Community Grants. We're investing in Bond Hill, where we're going to see a new major development rise at the old Jordan Crossing, the Swifton Commons. We're investing in Northside. So when we talk about jobs and business and population, we're doing the investments. They must expand.
Ms. Qualls, thank you. Andrea Ladott Blackman from the Cincinnati Herald has our next question. This one first directed at Mr. Cranley.
Mr. Cranley, could you pick two underdeveloped Cincinnati neighborhoods and give specific ideas on how you will revitalize them in the next 4 years?
Absolutely. Let me start with West Price Hill, a neighborhood that I grew up in that I think has been deeply neglected, and unfortunately the West Side has seen far too much crime and violence. And in District 3 right now, if you call 911, you can't even get a response right away. What we're going to do, however, is work with Price Hill Will and the development corporations to revitalize the area around Price Hill Chili. I'm proud to say that 10 years ago, I saved the Covedale Theater from destruction, and it's now been a theater of great revitalization for the neighborhood. What that area needs is more parking and more opportunity. In addition, I intend to go to Evanston and take what is one of our great historic landmarks, the King Records building, where James Brown performed his greatest hits, and make sure we preserve that building, which I believe is holy space, and make it a tourist attraction just like Stax is in Memphis and Sun Records is in Memphis. Just two ideas for two great historic neighborhoods.
And Ms. Qualls, 90 seconds.
The city of Cincinnati's future is dependent upon the success of our neighborhoods, and also the success of our neighborhoods is dependent upon the cooperation between City Hall and community-based leadership. That's one of the reasons why I am very proud of the work I've been doing in communities like Evanston, where we have a tremendous leadership on the community council level. They are working with Xavier University. They have a housing strategy. And so, for example, a couple of weeks ago, we made the proposal as partners that we would put in place a program called Come Home Cincinnati that would take abandoned, blighted buildings. The Port Authority would buy them. They would clear out the liens, they would stabilize them, and then they would be made available to people who met credit standards but were committed to renovate and live in those buildings for at least 5 years as residents. Innovative project, innovative program that is very much part and parcel of Evanston's vision of itself and a step towards making it a great community, once again, for all people who want to live there. East Price Hill. We are aggressively pursuing, with the community leadership of East Price Hill, investment in the Incline District. And that investment includes supporting the move of a theater so that it becomes a focal point of development, as well as investing in the fundamental infrastructure that's necessary to encourage more investment in housing development as well as retail development in that area. Those are just two examples, but there is much, much more happening throughout all of Cincinnati's neighborhoods.
And Mr. Cranley, 30 seconds to you.
Every candidate for city office says they'll do something for neighborhoods. As a private developer, I developed the Incline Village project with a new restaurant, Incline Public House, that's doing great. And talk is talk, but money speaks. The Blue Ash Airport was sold, and the proceeds were promised to your neighborhoods. But my opponent and her colleagues on council took all $37 million and put it in the streetcar. Talk is cheap, action is action. I have the experience in the private sector as a role model to help revitalize all of our neighborhoods.
Now we turn to WCPO politics and government reporter Kevin Osborne. And Kevin, your question first goes to Ms. Qualls.
Anyone who's followed this race know that you two differ on the streetcar project and the city's parking lease. But when you served on city council together, you actually voted the same about 95% of the time. Tell the viewers what, other than the streetcar project and the parking lease, that sets you guys apart from one another. How are you different?
The mayor of the city of Cincinnati is someone who actually has to lead this city based upon vision, values, as well as experience. I firmly believe that I have the vision that actually can lead this city for the next 20 to 30 years by putting in place those things which will make sure that we are globally competitive for jobs, housing, and investment. And while my opponent and I differ on the streetcar, we differ because I view that as a critical investment in the economic competitiveness of the city and the future of the city in terms of our ability to actually attract residents and attract those young people who actually are very much needed by our companies in order to be the workers that keep our economy going. In addition to that, in terms of the values that I bring the value that we need to make investments in people, in jobs, in business and housing, and we need to work in partnership to develop a shared vision that we can actually implement for all people in all neighborhoods.
Mr. Cranley, 90 seconds.
Well, there are several big differences. A recent example is the new garbage can policies. You know, my opponent led an effort to limit all families to one garbage can per week. You are not even allowed to buy with your own money a second garbage can and put it out for the city to pick up. When they passed this law, I went down to try to oppose it. And my opponent literally said, this will be good because people will stand in their garbage and fit it into one garbage can. I can't imagine a better image of the difference between the two of us. I do not want my constituents standing in their garbage. We want families in this city. We want families with kids in this city. They have more garbage. Trying to arbitrarily limit people to one garbage can is going to lead to illegal dumping. It's going to hurt our neighborhoods. And after 100 years of picking up all the garbage, they've decided for some ideological reasons that they're going to take that service away from you at the same time that they're raising property taxes. Secondly, my belief in the future is the people of this future. That's why I've committed to preschool promise. That's why I've committed to jobs and job training, to building and expanding an African-American middle class, because I think the people are the future of this city. And I believe that it's investing in people and the priorities that people care about rather than chasing after shiny objects that really separate the two of us in this race.
30 seconds to you, Ms. Qualls.
When we talk about vision and values, what we also have to recognize is that there are practical ways you implement them. We have a value in this community of actually being a green city, as well as saving taxpayers money. And so when my opponent says we have a difference over garbage cans, what that is that we are actually providing garbage cans for free to people, 96 gallons if you need it, but we're also providing recycling because it's a way of saving money, encouraging a reduction in waste, and also it's good for the environment as well as good for the pocketbook.
Our next question comes from Tom McKee once again. And Tom, your question goes first to Mr. Cranley.
Give me a one-sentence job description for the mayor of Cincinnati and expand upon how that fits you if you're elected.
We need someone who's going to take the city to the future and grow jobs and people. The fact is we have room to grow. We had a much larger population 50 years ago. And the fact is, for the good of all of us in the entire region, we have to grow jobs. My strategy is making it easier for business to do business in the city. Not raising property taxes, cutting out red tape, making it easier. I know what it's like to wait on inspectors to get my own restaurant started in Price Hill. That cost us money. I want to make Cincinnati a place where people want to do business. Secondly, I want to invest in the future. I've laid out an innovation policy to help with the new venture capital. That's very exciting at both the university and downtown level. The new entrepreneurs of the future. And I think we've got to do some big things to open up opportunity like I-71 or Martin Luther King. And if we do those things, I think we're going to grow opportunity and jobs, and I have the experience in the private sector to know what it takes.
Ms. Qualls, 90 seconds.
The job of the mayor is actually to help this community prepare for the future. John Kennedy said something that was very interesting and really resonated with me, and that was that while we can't predict the future, we can make the future. And so the job of mayor is to help make that future. And we know what we need to do in order to make that future. We have to be competitive globally and nationally for jobs, for population, and also for business. We also know that we critically must attack being an attractive city so that we actually have people moving to Cincinnati. We need to see the trends on the horizon, one of which is that people are turning away from relying upon the automobile. People want public transportation. And so we have to invest in those things that actually anticipate the needs and the wants of the next generation of people that's coming to be the workers in our community and actually help our city grow. Also, the job of mayor is to make sure that we actually are investing in businesses and in job creation and developing the resources that produce work as well as opportunities for wealth and growth among all the citizens of our city. The mayor of Cincinnati must put forward, as I have done, an agenda that is inclusive of everybody, stimulates growth, and also makes sure that we are a good place to raise a family, to work, to live, to shop, and to grow old and retire.